Alright. I want to hear it from you. Were you raising the white flag? Were you like, you need to surrender right now?
Oh, no,
I know I missed a few of the left hand. Hit a little seventh in there.
Overall, note accuracy is really good. Like,
yeah.
the only... I wasn't paying attention too much to note accuracy, but because I wasn't paying attention too much, that's a good thing because it did, like, notice it too much. The only thing that was, like, really noticeable was the first note when you jump down was out, but the rest was fine. So that was cool. The biggest thing out of all that is dynamics for sure.
Yeah.
Like, accuracy of dynamics with the written part as well as just exaggerating what you're doing. So in general, your low ends are not very low at all. Like the lowest you probably get is like 7-inch, or yeah, I'd say 6-inch, 7-inch, and she getting down to like 3 in some places, especially like towards right before the big jumps. Would definitely be like that. Like one that single bar that goes up and down is like super cool if you can get it to be like really low and big.
Another thing I noticed it right off the bat, and this is kind of like a cheat answer, is because I know it from future videos as well, is my sevens. I don't think I'm playing even sevens, and I need to reevaluate those and make sure I have an effective like subdivision in my head or effective way to vocalize it. That way I'm nailing my sevenlets. And it's really noticeable as we watch the next couple of videos. Sevens, bro.
Right there as well.
So it's so interesting because it immediately highlights, like it's so obvious. Like as soon as you hear two people, you're like, oh, that's where it's dirty. Like it's like the sevens, cold attacks. So like just count, dude. Like playing time with like anytime I like end a phrase and then come back in with a new note, like the second note, or at the very end, coming back in with cold attacks and just like being right with the met.
So yeah, to kind of elaborate what you said with like the cold attacks, I think in general, when you have a larger space in between like more consistent spaces, you tend to be inconsistent when you come back in. So like that happened right when you hit like the top note when you go into the part after all the metric up and downs.
Yeah.
You go ba that like space right there was super inconsistent, and that second note was super out. And the same thing happened with the different jumps, and besides that, the odd polyrhythms, or sorry, the odd rhythm spacing, so the 5-lits and the 7-lits were definitely inconsistent. You heard the 7-lits, but I think the 5-lits as well is where it tore all the other times.
Okay.
So I think having the breakdown for knowing where the 8th note subdivision of the metronome in between the 5-lit and stuff, or like all that stuff would be really helpful, just to know between which notes it is, and then start building the habit of listening for that, and then take it away, etc. You know that process. And Yeah. The only other thing is a really small thing of balance is for the laterals and the block chords and left hand at the end, the big jump.
Yeah,
Your 3 is about
overbalancing
2
4.
inches
Yeah,
higher, yeah, than your 4.
yeah.
I would say it
That
looks
was one of
purely
the
from a height thing.
that was one of the first things I noticed as soon as I got the
Hmm.
video back, because you don't ever see it. I like you
Yeah.
never see it if you don't have a video, and then as soon as I watched like started editing it, I was like, all right, so that's what that looks
Yeah.
like. And so right there at the end already you can tell the last like 3 notes, it's that having the intention. Effective action begins with strong intent. You gotta know why you're hitting
Hmm.
those last 3 notes. You can't just be like, man, I'm done. It's like
Yeah,
when
bro,
Megan's
add an
like,
extra bar.
add the
Yeah.
extra bar, dude, add the extra bar.
Hmm.
Play through the end. But a
Yeah.
lot of that, I'm like a lot of the fives in the second rep, in the third rep sounded better, but the last one didn't. The last seven, the last five, the last seven all got out and caused timing rubs.
Yeah, the beginning of it was fine. It lost it towards like the last 2 bars out of all the metric stuff.
Yeah, the
And
seven.
you can hear
Yeah,
that
yeah.
around that
It's the
area. Yeah.
6 7 6, and then the
Hmm.
5 6 7 8. I think it is at the very end.
Hmm.
Those two could definitely just use some polishing with the odd meter and making sure
Hmm.
that I'm coming back in on the right downbeat. It affects the rhythm after it too, and even if that rhythm is slightly off, I should feel that downbeat enough to not like let that like tumble and keep going,
Yeah.
perpetuate.
And then with regards to the 3 4 at the end that we were talking about before with the heights, I'd say rhythmically as well is something you should pay attention to. Like it was
Yeah,
kind of rubby the entire time and didn't have as much clarity as the left hand by
yeah.
far.
Yeah, that's been something I've been noticing in my individual practice, is just making sure that the O-let sounds good, and then like
Hmm.
on shifts that like the mallet 4 speaks on the B flat, stuff like that, making sure I'm getting a good quality of sound on those. Because it sounds so much better when it like rolls and it's got that like really really good triplet feel, as opposed to just
Yeah.
like being a bumpy horse.
Or some like dotted 5 note
Yeah,
crazy
some
polyrhythm
Jacob
stuff.
Collier
Yeah.
type B. Yeah.
Yeah.